Welcome back, guys. It's your boy Deco Graphics. Today we shall learn how to create a party poster on our smartphone using our PixelLab. This is strictly PixelLab alone. We shall learn a new tips on how we can create a presentable party poster on our smartphone, as I said. So without wasting much of our time, let's get started. The first thing, determine your background size. This is 1061 by 120. After you determine that, then you use the image, which is this, you use it as a background. Then when you are able to get that, I've already removed the background of this image as well. So I want to position that on top of this image, okay? So I'll position it like this. And what is the essence of that? We shall learn out the reason behind that. So the next thing I need to do is to what? Is to lock it. So that any object which I'm going to introduce right now, I'm going to send it to the back. And there won't be any issue in doing that. So after this, you can go to the crop and you flip this particular money, flip it the way you actually want it, okay? If you want it to go to the back, you can make it to go to the back. Fine. Now copy the same thing, and I don't want it to look in exact the same way. Or maybe let me just position it like this, or just send it like this. So if I send it like this, at least it will be able to form exactly what I want. And I don't want it to be disturbing. So instead of that, I will send it to the back. Very good. So sending this to the back will be an easy task. But I have to what? I have to make sure that it's obvious as well. So after this has been done, I will make sure I lock the two stuff. After locking it, heading back to the gallery, bringing a lighter object here will be the best. So I'm bringing this light object, and how am I going to make it bigger? Okay, I have to make it more bigger. I'll have to position it here. But what are the things to use to join? Copy it, then you cut out the chain at the top. So when you cut it out, it should be able to long enough to form it. And if it doesn't, you still copy it and you position. So to do the second round will be very easy. Look at it, is everything rhyme? Merge everything together. The essence is to copy it without stretching ourselves the way we did in the first subject. How are you going to know whether you position it at the right path? Turn on your grid, use it as a ruler, place it at the edge of these images. After you're able to do that, you can see obviously where the error is. Then you bring it down. This one shows that everything is uniform. Then you use your eyes as a ruler to gauge the left and the right to see that the space in between the left and the right are the same. Once you are able to do that, you can close your grid and turn on your layer, and you hide the two objects. Now, once before we forget that, you can quickly search for lights, reflection. Look at the perfect one that can really match this particular one. So when you get that, you can position that around here. Very cool. And how that can be done, you can have that very easy around this place. And the next thing you do is that just crop the exact one that you actually wanted, position that around here, then you copy the next one, position it around here as well. That will be pretty cool. Then we are good to go. We don't want it to be what to be reflecting to the skin of the images. So we need to reduce the size for as small as we want so that it will not touch the other way around. So when you're able to do that, the first part, you can do that copy to the second part. Now everything seems to be good and plumb. When you're able to achieve that, the rest are so simple. Then the next thing we need to do is to go into the text area. We're going to type this, okay? All right to reserve. No part of this should be copy up or share without the deco permission. So when this has been done, we reduce it to the what? It depends on whatever you want to write on your own. Okay. So now we are going to reduce the size by, let's say uh we want to just drop this one down so that I can form the two line. So when you form that, you can go into align to the center, After you are able to do that, just position it around here. Now, to make everything seem okay, you can go to the font, select the font that will somehow obvious but not pretty much noticeable. Okay, but I can show the existence of this right tab. So after that, you just position by justify to the center. Sometimes when you look at the text, the space between the left before you read this change and the right, you can see are not the same. You can manually adjust that, because if you have been familiar with those fonts, there are some that will not align properly. So when you are able to achieve this, the rest are so cool. We are still going to do a justice to that. Then the next thing we need to do right now is what? We are going to type the party. So we have a server, because that is Taban. Another name for Taban is server. So we have a server. We use a very pure, pretty cool font for that. Okay. So when we type our server, we position it around here, but should be as cool as this. Then the next thing, this is the area where we're going, and this is why we have to send all the these objects, this dollar, we have to send it to the back. So I'm going there, send it to the back so that it will not have fat. Then after sending it to the back, make sure that it's obvious somehow. The existence of this dollar is a part of the design as well. After position this server around here, then the next thing we need to do is to type in the celebration. Okay, so we go in, we have celebrating the server. We'll go into celebration. So just type the celebration around here. Very cool. Then you go into the font. What are you going to do around here? Just tap the let's look for a particular images font that we can use. Let's check in the extra bold, or we look for Archivo. So let's check for Archivo. Archivo should be the best option for this. So we use Archivo bold or Archivo semi bold. So I'm going for Archivo bold here. So I will reduce the size. After reduction, then I will go to the line spacing. So the letter line spacing, I will increase it, but it won't exceed this. Okay. So instead, I can close it a little bit for me to make this to be bigger. So after position that, I will go to centralization, just centralize everything to the center. So this is much pretty cool. So if you centralize that to the center, okay, perfect. Then we can shift this a little bit to be at the center as well. So if that is not really obvious, we can go in there by changing the font to Bibas font. That could be pretty cool as well, the bold one. Then we increase the size a little bit. After increasing the size, we celebrate it, reposition it to the center. And this is actually cool. Increase this a little bit as well, while we go to the position and we position it to the center to make a good justification. So you can indirectly check, okay, indirectly check properly to make sure that everything is actually aligned. Now, to make all these text to be obvious, so we are heading back to our gallery. What are we going to do? I want to change my cover. I have a drop down shadow. I have a shadow there. We can be able to be cool without stressing myself to blend the background with the images. So not this, I don't want this. So I will quickly heading back to my Canva. So getting to the Canva, I know the location. The location is here. So I will use this pen to blend the background. So position this, I will duplicate it. Just position it, duplicate it, position it, duplicate it, position it. You can see. So I will duplicate it as well. I will position it. Okay, perfect. So I will do the same thing to be perfect. Just make sure that everything is seem to be perfect. Okay, fine. So once I'm doing that, the next thing I have to do is to make sure that all these things are being, I will reduce the opacity. So let the opacity to be 50 or 51. I will do the same thing all through, so that it will not cover the whole entire images. It will leave a kind of a space, somehow transparent. Okay. So let me continue do the same thing. So we have 50. Do the same thing to the next one. So we have 50. Do the same thing to the next one. So we should have something of the same. So to the last one, we should have something of the same. So where we'll have an issue is this. How do we cope by doing all these things? Okay. So the next thing I'm thinking we should do is to just go to, or let's do something to make it cool. So how to blend this to make everything work. So we can still do this. Going to the text area, you have this particular this particular image. And what do you want to do with it? So it has to be, will have to be fast here. So I'm going to change the color to, even I can change it to the blue. Okay. If I want it that way. So if I change it to the black, okay, so change it to the black. So I have to be copy and placing. Okay, just copy and placing, copy and place, copy and place, copy and place, copy place. Okay, we are repeating the same process, repeating the same process, just be repeating. So later we will stop while we are going to merge everything, and we are going to be reposition it. Just copy and paste just to blend. Okay, we are trying to blend. Since this stuff cannot blend, so we are continuing to be doing that so that this particular area will be shadowed. Okay, so I want to do it to some extent before we merge. So you can see we are still progressing, we are achieving. Sorry, we are progressing. Okay, we are progressing, we are achieving a little bit. So we are progressing. You can see we are doing a justice to that particular bottom. So what we are going to do now is to merge everything. Just go to the layer, merge everything together. So okay, just fast with it. Merge everything together. Merge everything. You see, it's pretty much, very much. So that's why we have to merge everything together. So when you merge everything together, then we can do a justice to others. So we have this. So when you copy, this is the one we have. Okay, yeah, let's see whether I've copied it. I haven't. So now copy. So when you copy, you can position this here now. You can see, right? Send it to the back. No, not back. Send it to the front. Let's see. So which means we have this. This one is forming a shadow as well. What can we do? So what we need to just do is that just copy again. Go in there and you have this to be crop out. So when you crop this one out, send it to, let's see, why this one at the bottom will be sent to the front. Okay, send this to the front. This should be able to cover the mess. So send this first, why this will be sent, or better still, we are going to increase this if that will be giving us issue. So send this to the back, send this one up while we have this to be increased. So it won't give us any unnecessary issue. So just expand it very well so that it will bring a cool stuff around this place. You can see, right? So we can make all our text. The essence is to make sure all our texts are so obvious. So once I'm able to do that, so one thing I will do now is to send it to the front while I will delete all this irresponsible one. So what I'm doing next is to now bring this one to the tab. You can see auto-write reserve, everything should be tapped. You can see it's obvious now, very obvious. Why this one now? I can change the color to my text. So I will lock the server. I will lock that. Why I will bring this one down a little bit. So doing that, um, I can reduce this. So let me just close the space in the between a little bit. So when I close the space in between, I can increase. Okay, so that the space in between will not just be much. Then I can centralize after that. So when you centralize, you can see how the thing stop. Okay, and I can make it bigger a little bit. Okay, perfect. So now that everything is being done like that, so the next thing I have to do is that I have to copy. I have to copy this particular shadow which I form. So when I copy, I will go to the stroke, then turn it up. other way around, then you can see stuff like this, right? So the essence of doing this is to make the upper part to show as well. So I will rotate it and adjust it a little bit. Once I do that, I will click it like this. So I will send it to the back as well. Perfect. So when I send it to the back, you can see automatically it will work for that. And it made the upper text to be obvious and everything is seemed to be good. So the next thing I need to do is to use the color picker, pick the color from this image. So when I do that, I will select the perfect one, the bold and perfect one. Then that one will serve as a color for this. So if it is not obvious, I can go ahead and pick the obvious one to make it cool. So, and adjust it a little bit to be brighter so it can do the work for me. Perfect. Now, the next thing I need to do after that has been done is to just have a shape like this. While I go to the radius, so while I go to the radius, so getting to my radius, I will go to the stroke. Just have a 3-line stroke like this, or 4 or 6. So sorry. So when you have that, you can crop and have it position around here. Let it be the same with this stuff, okay? Let it be the same. So we are going to crop that. Just let it be the same with this. While we have this to be cropped. Okay, perfect. Just let it crop like that. Then we change the color. The color should be changed to white. So we can reduce the hardness. The hardness by changing the stroke to something like 4. Copy. When you copy, we are going to do the same thing around here. This is what we will see, whether there is a kind of error. Okay, so because this is centered this. Now tap on your grid. Use your grid as a demarcation. So that one can allow you to measure. So we position this here. So when you are able to do that, you can tell and see how the thing look. So for instance, what I'm going to do now is to just adjust all the text to make sure that they are uniform. So I'm doing that right now by looking at it. So looking at it now, everything seems to be plumb without any issue. So you can close that. Then you can see how everything look. Okay, perfect. Now the next thing we want to do, this is too obvious. The next thing is reduction, okay, to this line. Why we reduce this to this line as well. Perfect. Perfect. Then we're going to cancel the line stuff. While we're going to the text area, we can copy this as well, not change this. So we have Saturday 2022, or we write it separately. So when you have that, you can cancel this. While you go into the spacing between the alphabet, cancel that. Then you bring this one down. So if it is too big, you can reduce the size. Reduce the size, okay? Then have the color being changed to white. So when you do that, you copy. So we have 22. Sorry. We have 29. Well, if everything scattered, just go to autosave. Then you click on the last one. So you just reposition the last one by reducing the size. Will be pretty good. Go to the color, change the color to white. Reposition very well. Will be the bust. Copy. Then you go in there and change 29. Okay, it won't be making such a mistake anymore. Then you properly change this perfectly. But make sure you reposition very well by increasing the size. Let it be in the same line with this. After that, copy. Then you put October. Let it be in cap. So you move that down a bit as well. So we can change the font to this. Change the font to that while we'll go into the size and reduce the size very well. So when we reduce the size, everything has to be the same anyway. So we position this here. Why the date Saturday should be increased. 29 should be increased as well. Should be increased. So instead of us to change this, we can move this one down a bit while we deal with Saturday. Okay, we can use this for Saturday. Perfect. Increase the size a bit. Then bring it down a bit. Perfect. So you can do justice to this by bringing it up a bit as well. Perfect. So now everything seems to be cool at this area. So to just save ourselves from stress, okay, to save ourselves from stress, so just shift this a little bit. Perfect. Perfect. And another thing is, after you do that, you can shift it up in one bit or two. Good. So after that has been done, then the next thing we can do right now is to have the time. So I'm going to copy this. Just copy. We have 0830. That is 08. So having this could be cool. Okay. And you bring it sharply to this area. So when you bring it to that area, increase the size. So when you increase the size, we go in there by having the date. So let's say 8:30, but that should be the same anyway. So let me cancel this. So that should be the same, 8:30. Then we quickly rush and go into this place. So when we have our 8:30 here, well, now we can copy any of these. Okay, so to make everything cool, so we can copy this. So where we have PM, when you have PM, just go to the bold and bold this. Quickly move it. So when you reach here, you can reduce the size to as small as you want. You can see perfect. So let there be breathing space, space the letter. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So now the next thing is to make a justification to this. So by measuring it and see how the thing cool. Okay. So we need to adjust that as well. So confirm first. So we'll move 8:30 p.m. So we are going to move that up so that it won't touch this. Okay, cool. So everything seems to be working perfect now. After that, we're heading back to the gallery. Get into the gallery, bring this. Okay, if this now work, we can let go into photo room. I thought it was downloaded with transparent background before, but it doesn't. So we go in there, then we remove it. Let's see how it will work. Okay, guess it will work. Fine. Then we'll go to transparent, the transparent one, then click next and save. So we can heading back. That is how to remove background. So we go back and select that. That will be the first on the list. The thing not work properly. It doesn't work properly. So another thing we can do is this. Let me quickly show you. So let me look for this particular image. Okay. So I forgot where I get it. Okay, now it seems I've seen it. So I use the Google Lens to find where I click it. I downloaded it. So now that I've seen it, I was worried that time. I have to download it now. So let's download it with a transparent big G. Okay. So free download. So it should be without background now. Let's see. Because this doesn't work. So you can see perfect. So it work. It work. So now we are going to position that around here. We position that around here as a kind of a demarcation. Then the next thing we will do is, since it is a text image, we have a 3 line here. So if you can even form it at the middle. So form it at the middle. So when we have that, we position to the center. We are going to copy. We position to the center. Y this should be centered as well. Then we change it down a bit. While we copy again, then position to the center, we move it up a bit as well. So when that has been done, we can merge the three together. We'll show you what I'm trying to do. When you merge the three together, the next thing you are going to do is to crop it. Okay, so when you crop, you can reduce the size. Reduce the size and you come here, around here. So I want everything to be around here. So we go to the color, change the color to red. So we have our text option. So let's say we have deco digital. So we go into the text area. We use the text called Archivo. Okay, Archivo bold. So we come here, then we have this being reduced very well and position it around here. So position that around here could be perfect. Okay, so when we have that, then the next thing we will do is we are going to reduce it again, maybe a little bit, or we use a pumping. Let's use a popping or outfit board. So when we use that, we can turn on our demarcation, the grid, use it as a demarcation here so that we will not exceed the line. That can be reduced a little bit. Okay, so when you reduce that, just bring it down a little bit. Now reposition to the center. So when you are able to do that, this should be at the edge. Then reduce it very well. So when you reduce it very well, you copy. Then reposition it sharp. Just reposition it very sharp because it has to be around here. Then we are going to reduce this very well. Okay, perfect. Then the next thing we need to do after that is to go into the text area, to the gallery, bring it this. You can see I mistake with this as well. So what are we going to do? We are going to repeat the same process. So you are learning many tricks here by learning how to, because you can see instead of so I have to look at where this one surveys from. So I will quickly head into this. So where I will download it as transparent background. So I have to do that one quickly. Or instead of me doing that, I can even go with another one. Okay. So let's say I want to go with different one. I will go with this. So download again. So let's see now. So come here, you can see this one is still having a background. So let's check. So among the options, create black wallpaper, clean PNG. So let's go for clean PNG. That one will not misbehave. Okay. Festival background. I guess I've seen it. So let's go in with this. So just go to free download. So we'll have it downloaded immediately. Okay. Once it start downloading, you can close and you check it on the inbox. So where we have it, you can see without backgrounds. Okay, perfect. So go into the text and we change this automatically. So let's say we change it to white the way it was. Let's change that one to white. Why we are going to position that one here, so that will be pretty cool. Then we are going to monitor as well. So turn on your grid to this side as well. So when you do that, you can click OK so that you adjust centrally to that particular side. So once you are able to do that, then the next thing you need to do, bring this one down a bit. Okay, perfect. So now the next thing is cross check this. You can see mark everything and you are going to shift to the left to be at the edge. Okay, perfect. So now the next thing I want to do now is to crop a shape. Have a shape being bring a shape down here. Okay, then I want to make it to be obvious anyway. You can turn on your grid at this point because that is our line of demarcation. So we change the color to red, then we send that to the back so that will be obvious anyway. Then we can see it make the festival kini to be obvious. Okay, perfect. Then there should not be any error on that side. So we do a justice. It should not exceed. So perfect. So why we shift this a little bit so that the line will be the same. Very cool. So now this that we did at the top by locking it, so we are going there. Okay, while there will be, we will bold it if possible. Then we can even do that by adding a background to it while we go to the line spacing between the text just to make sure it's cool. And you go to the relative and you position it perfectly, so you can see how this is work. So very cool. So now the next thing we can do when this is being done, or better still, we can manually adjust that. Okay, so the background can be removed. So the background is being removed, I guess that is pretty cool. We can now have this, just have this instead of background that will serve as a background for us. So increase that very well. We serve as a demarcation around here. We can even increase it as much as I want. So when you do that, go to the black stop, then you turn it to black. So reduce and bring it to the back. So you can reduce, bring it to the back like this. Okay, bring it to the back. All right, reserve. Good. So it make that place to be obvious as well. And we are done with everything. This is just a simple tricks on how we can come up with party poster on our Android smartphone using our PixelLab. I believe we'll gain something from here. Thanks for watching, guys. God bless you. Just make sure you save your work with uh, Ultra and the format with PNG. Thanks for watching once again.